Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gives you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I am Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then. Dyaneshwar Padwal of KIFS Securities, Kunal Rambhia of The Streets, and technical analyst Fidai join me on the show. Many thanks to all of my guests for joining me. Before we start with our guest and their charts, let's get across to Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Hexaware this time around. Good afternoon, Yash. What's the chart that you have for us and what's the indicator that you've used?
Good afternoon, Darshan. I'm using the fear and greed indicator, not the most favorite of your indicators, but it's a sell signal which is coming in on Hexaware Technologies. And as you could see, after a series of green upticks, from the start of the month of January, the stock has went up to about 350 levels. And after a very long time, or after almost close to 2 months, the fear and greed indicator has flipped its color. So the negative value over here, as it oscillates on a zero basis line, indicates a sell call when it comes to the fear and greed indicator. And what we've seen in this week is that for the last 3 trading sessions, when the broader markets have been in a positive uptrend, the stock has managed to fall in each of the last 3 trading sessions. Today as well, it is down on the back of decent volumes for that matter. So the fear and greed indicator suggests downside.
What's the historical success ratio of someone who follows this strategy?
So Darshan, 7 out of the last 9 times that the indicator has turned negative, you would have gone on to make about 4.5% over the next 1 month.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Thank you so much for that, Yash. 346 is where Hexaware is trading. Dyaneshwar, what's your view on Hexaware?
Well, Darshan, if you look at the overall chart structure of the IT indices, it has already given the sell signals, and in that space, Hexawares look quite dull in this market, and we need a renewed weakness on the chart. So if it is managed to sustain below 340 and close below 340, then only we may see the further escalation towards the 310, almost 300.
Okay, below 340 somewhere where Dyaneshwar will short. Kunal, what's your view on the counter?
So no, if you look at the broader formation of this particular stock, from November till February, the stock wasn't able to surpass 340 on the higher side. Recently, when it made a high, it took a resistance of 200 days moving average. And right now, again, 340 is retested.
Okay.
So unless 340 is taken out on the lower side, I would not call this as a selling opportunity. I would rather buy near to the support and waiting for the uptrend to begin then.
Okay, so that's the second view that's coming in, not short the counter. But if it goes below 340, would you
Certainly.
short? Okay, so it's the second guest which is also indicated that not to do anything at this point of time, but only short the counter if it goes below 340. NS, what's your view on the same?
Well, I will agree with Yash actually, because he's given a very limited target. So it's not something, it's a trading bet, and it will come down to 337, 335. So, anything below 344, 343, and the stock will give you around 3 to 4% in instant. So one can go short around, on the dips below 344, 343. So I would go short if it breaks 344, 343.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Not short at this level, it's at 346. Below 344, 345 is where 343, 344 is where NS would short, and the other guys would only short if 340 is broken on the downside. So that's the view that's coming in. What the Bloomberg has indicated to us. Let's start with the first round. Then Dyaneshwar has a buy call on Page Industries. Dyaneshwar, we can have the chart also. Page Industries has been one of the counters which has fallen from levels of as high as 36,000 all the way down to 23,000. It's actually rebounded from 20,000 to 23,000. Are you seeing more traction now?
Yes, Darshan, if you look at the overall chart structure, so it is moving in an escalating channel where, every time it took the support of the channel and moving towards the northern trajectory, it happens 2 to 3 times. So simultaneously, here also the same situation has been occurred. And if you look at the RSI oscillators, can you just zoom in the RSI oscillators?
Yeah, they'll do it.
Yeah, in these oscillators, we have seen that the hidden divergence has been placed where, the RSI is making new low, but price is not managed to make a new low. So that is a buying signals for a Page Industry. One can buy or accumulate on dips at the current market price by keeping a stop loss of 21,900 for an initial leg of up move towards the 25,500. That would be an 50% Fibonacci retracement of the previous fall.
What's the importance of this RSI? If you can explain to us the thing that you were saying, it's going at lower levels, but the price is going at the higher level. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, it means whenever you see RSI oscillators is making new high with the price. So it is a clear uptrend.
Okay.
And whenever you see the RSI is making new low, but price is not managed to new low, so that would be a buying indication. Because bears are not that much of active to drag down the stocks below the levels.
Okay, so 23,200 is where Page Industries is. Thank you so much for that. Kunal, would you buy Page Industries at this level?
Certainly, you know, what we saw was the stock correcting from 36,000 to almost 21,000. Now, this was mean reversion kind of stock. Now, if I look at the broader picture right from 2010 till now, this price is clearly following 150 weeks average. Now, this weekly average was retested in February 2016, even in November 2016, and recently, which is near to 21,000, and it's reversing from there. So, any buying opportunity certainly can reward better.
Okay, that's a buying opportunity. NS, would it be a third thumbs up? Would you buy Page?
I would not touch this stock right now because I believe their fall was very sharp in between and it has given just a reversal from there and there could be a more downside, probably a test of, retest of the bottom. So I wouldn't want to touch it right now.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. Two of our guests indicate that they would start accumulating Page Industries. The third guest does believe that it's not a stock that he has no recommendation. It's a stock that he would not trade at this point of time. Let's call on the second guest, and Kunal has a view on DLF this time around, I believe. Let's pull up the chart of DLF. Kunal, what makes you, I believe this is a bullish call, right? What makes you bullish on DLF?
So, no, I want to actually highlight the entire formation right from 2008 till now. So, 2008 we knew this stock was extremely outperforming, and since then this stock is just making. There was a massive correction till 2011-12. Right from 11-12 until now, you can see that the stock is under consolidation. What we saw in 2016 and 17 was a try to recover out of that consolidation zone, but it could not manage to again. Right now, first time I'm seeing that the RSI is now giving a first breakout on the higher front. If I come to the price level, prices are forming symmetrical triangle formation. My buy call would be above 185, which is this particular trend line trigger. This stock can be an accumulation stock right from the present level till 150. Why 150? Because this particular line is coming near to 150. So unless it takes out 150 on the lower side, it's a buy on dip kind of stock. Once it manages to cross 185 on the higher side, I would expect the stock to reach 225 and 275 in couple.
So you're saying buy at this level right up to 150.
Right.
What's the stop that you would keep?
So I would keep the stop loss for time being as 150 itself. Besides, if close below 150 on weekly basis, I would change my call.
Okay, that's the view. Explain these two lines. What's the significance? How did you get them?
So now what I did was I took the extreme low of 2016 and 17 itself. Right from that level, I connected the bottom of 2018. And I saw that this time also the stock is taking the same support. And on the higher side, the top and the previous top. This helped me to take the trend line on the furthermost side. Now this is a symmetrical triangle formation which has indecisiveness in terms of breakout. So we would wait for the breakout to come first. Once the breakout comes, we would go long on it.
Okay, that's so. And how long do you think if someone plays this strategy, how long does he have to wait before the target of 200 plus comes in?
So now I'm expecting target of 225 and 275, which is on the extreme side. And again, this is a weekly chart. So I'm expecting the counter after breakout to deliver the target in 3 months' time.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Kunal. NS 175 is where DLF is. Would you buy at this level?
I would like to wait for it to give a breakout actually, rather than buy right now.
What's your breakout point?
180.
Okay, his was 185, so pretty much similar levels. Okay. So at this point of time, you wouldn't do anything?
No, I wouldn't buy.
Okay. What about you, Dyaneshwar?
Well, Darshan, if you look at the lower time frame charts, mainly on daily, so stock was consolidating in the range of 170 to 150 on a lower side, and recently we have seen the renewed strength has been observed on the chart, and it has managed to give the breakout on the 170 level, and it is managed to sustain above 170. So any dips comes towards the 170, so that could be a great buying opportunity. Traders can keep a stop loss of 165 for an initial leg of up move towards the 185, 190.
But would you buy now or only at 170?
I can start accumulating at the current market price towards the 170.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the second stock, that is DLF. Now we have a chart on Hindalco, and that's the chart that NS Fidai has put out. Let's pull up the chart. What's the view that's coming in? Why are you bearish on Hindalco?
Like if you see, Hindalco has been in a lower top, lower bottom formation continuously. like since like you can say September, it has kept on falling, and it has always tested this trend line. Okay, and also 50 DEMA. Like 50 DEMA, it has not been able to cross since probably you can say December, or like it has not been able to sustain above that for more than 2-3 days.
Okay.
So that shows like the stock is facing lots of resistance in this area of 50 DEMA. Plus, if you see, there is a downward falling flag. So you have flag here, which is like rising like this, but this is more of a distribution flag and not an accumulation flag, because there are multiple resistances here. The trend line of this flag, okay, the parallel channel, the trend line that is rising from the top, and even the 50 DEMA. Today also it has given a breach below this. Actually, I would have preferred to go short around 200, 203, and like I would have added more position below 195, 194. So right now it is an like you can go short at this level also, and you can expect a target of 185 and 180 also on the downside. And like it has already breached the flag, so you can easily go short. And there is money to be made in extreme short term, maybe in few days only.
Okay, so this is more like a short term strategy. What's the stop loss that you said you would keep?
Now for now it has come down below 194 right now. I think it is trading at 194 somewhere. So I would keep my stop loss around 202 right now.
202 is the stop loss. Okay, thank you so much for that, NS. Kunal, would you short Hindalco at this point?
So now, if I look at the weekly chart formation, it's under falling wedge formation. Certainly, it has taken the resistance near to 200 mark and it's falling. So yes, from short-term perspective, it's a clear short. And from positional perspective, if you have missed the rally, then wait for the stock to bounce till say around 200. Keep the stop loss of 205. Go short. On the lower side, expect 175, 180 in the time to come.
Okay, so it's a second guest which has also set a short on the counter on Hindalco. What about you?
Yeah, if you look at the lower time frame chart, it is showing a clear short candidate, but risk reward ratio is not that much of favorable. So wait for and bounce back towards the 200, 201 level. So you can go short there and keep a stop loss of 206 as my colleague has mentioned. So that would be a great risk reward ratio.
Okay.
And target would be 180, 185.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Hindalco. Remember, the counter has already corrected significantly in trade today. It's down 3%. NS does believe that there could be more potential downside, but the other two guys believe that wait for the counter to bounce back before starting to short the counter. So that's the first round. Second round, we have come out, and the second round, the first stock that we want to talk about is Infosys, in which Dyaneshwar has a bearish call. Let's pull up the chart of Infosys. What makes you bearish on this, Dyaneshwar?
Recently we have seen that a spectacular rally into the IT indices, and Infi has outperformed the key benchmark index. And after that we have seen that again the oscillators has given the sell signal. Can you just zoom in the oscillators? So if you look at the total oscillators chart structure, so where we have find out the price is making new high, but RSI is not managed to making new high. So it shows that the bulls have lose their strength on making new high.
Is this what you're talking about? Is gone below?
Yeah, this one. Whenever we have seen that the stock is making new high over here, again the RSI has also made a new high. But in this situation, price has made a new high, but RSI fails to made a new high. So it indicates the bulls have lose their strength. So it is a sell indication. And simultaneously, if you look at the price chart,
yeah, they'll get it up. Yeah.
If you look at the price chart, so it is a weekly chart. On the weekly charts, the intermediate trend line breakdown has been observed on the chart. So one can go short at current market price by keeping a stop loss of 760 for an initial leg of down move towards the 660.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. And how soon do you see 660 to come
it will take near about 1 month.
Okay, so this is likely a positional trade that's coming in. Yes. Thank you so much for that, Dyaneshwar. Kunal, Infosys 715. What's your strategy? Oh, I believe you also have a sell call on Infosys. So we'll have your chart also, and we'll see what strategy. Okay, you selected a different strategy, right?
So now instead of
also explain the strategy, please.
Perfect. So instead of looking at the weekly chart, I thought of focusing more on daily chart.
Okay.
So now what I realized was right from September 2017, when stock was trading in the range of 430, this stock turned out to be an extremely outperformer in entire 2018 and managed to make a high of 775. If I look at the wave countings on this entire wave was the first wave, corrective wave which was second, third on the higher side, fourth on the lower side, and fifth was a distribution pattern. If you look at if you just focus on the last fifth wave, it's a rising wedge that is also known as ending diagonal in case of Elliott wave. So that's ending diagonal which actually was broken out on the lower side. Prices managed to retest the same on the higher side. At the top, we can see the distribution pattern which is getting formed, which is head and shoulder formation, and price managed to broke that neckline which was placed at 720 mark. If I look at RSI is also making, if you zoom onto the chart, you will realize that the higher bottoms are taken out decisively on the lower side itself, which happened yesterday itself. Look at the bottoms, which were actually supportive, and yesterday it managed to broke that on the lower side. Coming back to price chart again, so 720 was the level which I was waiting for the stock to break, and today in today's session it's down by that level. So if the stock manages to close near to the low itself, which turns out to be a clear bearish candle, I expect this gap to be filled, and obviously this being the distribution pattern, I expect the stock to fall further.
What's the importance of 720? Why were you waiting for it?
Why 720 is just because if I place this neckline properly at the bottom itself, it took first support, second support and third support till yesterday, and it managed to give a breakdown today itself. So neckline is always placed at the support where the demand zone is available.
Okay, so if it falls and closes below this level, where do you see the counter headed to?
So minimum would be say 640, 650
So
mark.
similar to what Dyaneshwar said. Would you short now? Would you wait for a rise on?
So if someone is holding the counter and enjoyed the entire rally, it's advisable to start exiting counter on every high. From trading perspective, start shorting here itself and keep the capacity of shorting on the higher side, say 720, 725. Also.
And what's the stop loss?
And then stop loss would be say when the trend turns positive. So by any chance it manages to go above this level, I would place the stop loss at 740.
740. Okay, thank you so much for that. So I think we have two bearish calls that's coming in on Infosys. So NS, what's your verdict?
Even I agree with both of them, and absolutely it has given a breakdown below head and shoulder pattern, which is a very obvious and clear pattern. And I believe the stock is headed towards 685 and 640 also. So probably first target could be 685, where you can see a little bit of bounce back. And if it comes back again to 710, 20 area, you can again go short because that would be a retest of the the neckline. That is what usually happens in a head and shoulder pattern. The stock breaks down, comes down, and then retests that area. So 685 would be a good area to go for even you can go long at that area. Sell off at 710, 720, and maybe it will go down to 640 again then.
Okay, so just a follow-up question. I think the entire IT stocks of late have been correcting significantly. Is TCS a strongest stock among them? What's your view on TCS? Do you think, because a lot of brokerage reports have started coming in wherein there have been upgrades on TCS. Remember the block deal that was spoken about didn't happen, and there was a huge amount of short covering that happened. Will this rally in TCS continue? Because TCS is trading pretty much near the not at the day's high, but pretty much it's up almost 0.5% in trade. Kunal, you can go first.
So, right from February top, when the TCS made a high of around 2100 and then made a bottom near to 1875, 1880, it's forming symmetrical triangle formation. And again, as we discussed on my chart formation itself, symmetrical triangle is indecisive for time being. The trend is not negative as of now, but if that symmetrical triangle is taken out on the lower side decisively, I would rate this stock to be again a sell.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Ines, TCS?
Yeah, TCS has actually seen big cuts in last few days. Earlier also it had fallen like around 5 days, 6 days back. It had given a big cut, and before that also around 2-3 weeks back, there was some big fall. So I believe the current move is actually very minor, the candles are very small, the green candles. So that shows the strength is actually with bears, and I would prefer to go short around 2075 rather than to go long in this stock.
Okay, Dyaneshwar, would you go long or short on TCS?
Yeah, if you look at the TCS higher time frame charts, mainly on weekly, so we have seen that in October 2018, the stock has fallen from his top. It has taken 4 weeks to go down, so that the harsh impulsive, I could say the negative impulsive momentum has been built up, and after that the stock is not managed to take out that high. So it was consolidating in the range of near about 1800 towards the 2100. So that is all patterns are overlapping. So I could say those who have long position, they can try to get exit from the TCS.
Okay, that's the view. I think overall the IT space is not something that is finding flavor with the analyst. And finally, the last stock that we want to talk about is Biocon. NS Fidai has a negative view on Biocon. Why are you negative on it?
Yeah, if you see this, actually Biocon, I have put a weekly chart here. Now, if you see on this is 50 VEMA, that is 50 weekly exponential moving average, this green line, and the stock has always come and respected this area. Now, only problem is now it was, if you see, like after a long time, it has come to this area of 50. Again, it has retested in a shorter time frame. That is something that is, means, and now it is testing on every week, same area. That shows that, if you keep on hitting floor, you will go down, right? You'll break it. So it's like you are hammering the same area again and again. So that is the possibility that is going to happen if Biocon breaks 600. Okay. And that's the reason I have given a call on Biocon. If you should go short only if it breaks 600. Okay. Otherwise, it can hold out in this area, which it had already done earlier. If you see similar kind of pattern here, it gave similar kind of move, but did not break that area. So rather, you shouldn't take a hasty decision and go short right now. Wait for 600 to be broken. And if that happens, then there is quite a big dips downside. Can we see the daily chart right now? Okay. Yeah, if you see daily chart, see this. It is also forming a huge head and shoulder on a complex way. This can be the head, and there are multiple shoulders there and multiple shoulder on this side. Okay, and if it breaks this 600, which will be the horizontal breakdown here. Okay, and if it does that, then we have a clear-cut target of something like 580 in 565, you can say. And if 565 is broken, then you can even expect 510. So the stock is heading there is huge, I would say, if this pattern actually gets executed below 600, and then it is a clear-cut case of distribution here.
Okay, last few times we saw that it always took support and managed to bounce back at that level. What makes you confident? You're saying that there is a lot of selling that's happening, but what makes you confident that this time around it will break?
The thing is, it is happening in a shorter time frame. Okay. If you see, the lesser the time frame, and the stock keeps on hitting the same support area again and again, that shows there is something wrong in that, technically. So technically, I wouldn't be very comfortable right now. And see this big candle that it has made, it has not been able to breach that, even though if you see current situation in market, stocks have bounced, and this stock is not able to do that. Yesterday it actually gapped down. So if anything below 600 would be the best area to go short. Right now I wouldn't want to do anything right now. Wait for it to break below 600. Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Thank you so much for that, NS. Dyaneshwar, Biocon at 618, what's your strategy?
Yeah, if you look at the lower time frame charts, mainly on daily, the intermediate trend line breakdown has been happen, and stock has tested the breakdown level, and after that the stock has opened a gap down. So on the huge volume, so it is better to go short below 605. Okay. So that
similar strategy to what NS has said. And Kunal, what's your view?
So again, below 600 definitely short, but otherwise it's a triangle formation on weekly chart where the higher tops and the lower bottoms were formed in the beginning of 2018 and second half of 2018 we saw lower tops and higher bottoms. So that's forming the diamond pattern, which is a time correction again. So unless taken out on the lower side below 600, I would not short, but rather near to that level I'll think of going long, with the target of say around 660 on the higher side. Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. But remember, Biocon is more like a positional strategy. Below 605, 600 is where you would look to short, not at this level. So that's the strategy that's coming in. And before we wrap, we'll ask our guests what they feel about the markets at this point of time. We are very close to the 11,000 mark. The last 2 days have been volatile. We are seeing a little bit of selling pressure that's coming in. NS, you go first. Will 11,000 break, or will we hold above that?
I think we'll hold seriously. It doesn't seem like it will go down quite a lot. Worst case it can do is maybe 10,950 approximately, and that would be an intraday dip, could be more of that kind of thing. But I believe the stock index has a potential to go above 11,120 and go to even 11,400. So I have already mentioned that on Wednesday's show, and I still hold my view on 11,400 in short term.
Okay, Kunal?
So now what we saw in last entire 4 months time is markets being range bound. First time taking breakout above 11,000 decisively on Feb 2019, and again coming back to 10,600. Yesterday's high is almost same as 11,100. So I would stay on the sideline when it comes to indices. Rather being long at this point of time, I'll go short with the stop loss of 11,120. By any chance that manages to go above that, I'll go long.
Okay, what about you, Dyaneshwar?
Yeah, I agree with Kunal, because we have seen that the from last 4 months the index was consolidating in a narrow range, and it is forming a rising wedge pattern. So overhead resistance comes towards the 11,185, 11,200. So rather going short at the current market price, I will wait for 11,200 to come. So I will go short at that level.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the markets at this point of time, but we're completely timed out on this edition of Hot Money. Many thanks to all of my guests, NS, Kunal, Dyaneshwar. Thank you so much for coming in. Ask PQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg.